All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we are going to now get into talking about the Texans Packers game from yesterday. These games, because I said, between this game and the game we just talked about, those are going to be some of the best games of the weekend, and they were. They were as advertised. Um, Packers were coming in at 4-2, Texans 5-1 on the season, and interesting game for both quarterbacks. Jordan Love, three touchdown passes in this game. Did throw a couple of interceptions. C.J.Stroud, he only went 10 of 21 for 86 yards. Texans ran the ball with Joe Mixon. Like I said, the turnovers helped them. But let's kind of go through it. So, first drive of the game, Jordan Love throws a pick. Trying to hit Dontavian Wicks, who had a touchdown in this game. The Texans, they turned that into a field goal. Fairbairn from 23 yards out. Both teams punted. And then the Packers put together a 13-play, 92-yard drive down the field. And Love connected with Tucker Kraft for a touchdown, a 14-yard touchdown. So, that made it 7-3. Texans then punted on their next drive. And Ballantyne ends up muffing the punt. Texans recover, and they end up cashing in, scoring a touchdown on that drive. Joe Mixon from 2 yards out scores. Then the Packers, on their drive, they end up putting together a touchdown drive. Jordan Love connects with Dontavian Wicks for a 30-yard touchdown, so that made it 14-10. Then it was 14-13. Fairbairn kicks a 52-yarder. And then Jordan Love throws another interception. Texans turn that into a touchdown. Joe Mixon had a 32-yard run, and then he scored from 4 yards out. They did go for two. They did not get it. So it was 19-14 at the half. Texans then punted to open up the second half. Packers, they put together a 9-play, 71-yard drive. Josh Jacobs had a big run on this drive for 27 yards. And then later in the drive, and I didn't know this, but he scored his first ever receiving touchdown in the NFL. Love connected with him from 8 yards out. He scores from 8 yards out. So that made it 21-19 Packers. More punts. We go to the fourth quarter. A lot of punts. Texans finally score. 13 plays, 45 yards. Almost 6.5 minutes of time of possession. And big play. Stroud did not put together a great performance, but he did hit Xavier Hutchinson for an 11-yard gain on 3rd and 10 from the Packers 23, and you thought, that might be it. They might just, that might be it, but they might have iced it. But that was not the case. The Packers were able to get the ball back. 35-yard field goal by Fairbairn, and the Packers put together an 8-play, 44-yard drive. They get into field goal range, and, kicking has been a problem for the Packers. They just have not been able to figure it out. They bring in Brandon McManus, and he kicks a 45-yard field goal to win the game, does his first Lambeau leap, and the Packers win. They improve to 5-2. The Texans drop to 5-2. Texans were down some guys on defense. Their leading receiver in the game was Dalton Schultz. 1 reception for 28 yards. And, they did rely on the running game, and Joe Mixon has done a great job running the football. But you'd like to see more out of C.J.Stroud. And he wasn't getting good protection from his offensive line. Packers' defense played really well yesterday, at least, rushing the passer. Stopping the run was a problem. But the Packers, they finished with 4 sacks on the day. You had 2 from Eric Wilson, the linebacker. 1 from Xavier McKinney. He was just unblocked. They did not pick him up. He sacked Stroud. And then Rashawn Gary also had a sack in this game as well. Quay Walker, he got hurt in this game. And he's a key guy when it comes to stopping the run. Romeo Doubs had a good game for the Packers, 8 receptions for 94 yards. Dontavian Wicks, 3 for 48 and a touchdown. Tucker Kraft, 3 for 33 and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 5 for 16 and a touchdown in this game. Jaden Reed, only 2 for 10. Christian Watson, 1 for 9. Jordan Love, 24 of 33, 220 yards. Like I said, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. The interceptions continue to be a bit of an issue, but, he continues to throw touchdown passes. So, it was a good game. But like I said, you'd like to see Stroud throw for more yards in this. And this is what I was talking about, though. Wanted to see the Texans go on the road and, beat a tough opponent. Now, they had their chance. I mean, this was a very close game. But they were not able to do it. And, you look at their schedule coming up. You got the Colts. You got the Jets. You got the Lions, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Jaguars. And then later in the year, you got the Dolphins with Tua, at the Chiefs, home against the Ravens on Christmas, and then at the Titans. So there's some tough games later in the year. You got the Lions in there almost in the middle of November. So, I mean, look, the Texans are still a very good team, and they are, they're going to win this division. However, the Colts, they're 4-3 right now. So they've kind of, righted the ship a little bit. They won with Flacco last week. They beat the Dolphins, although, I mean, those wins weren't overly impressive in my opinion. The Dolphins, I mean, you had Tyler Huntley starting, and then he got hurt, and Tim Boyle had to come into the game. So, Colts, they got some tough games coming up. You got the Texans next week. Then they're at the Vikings, home against the Bills, at the Jets, home against the Lions. So, that's a tough stretch for the Colts. I still think the Texans, it's their division. So, for the Packers, I mean, they play in the toughest division in football. They already lost to the Vikings, but they take on the Jaguars next week, which I think they should win that, so that should get them to 6-2. But then you got the Lions at home, bye week, at the Bears, and then home against the Niners. So, they got some tough games coming up as well. But, yeah, I mean, it was a good game. It was as advertised, like I said. Two young quarterbacks. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw those two teams square off in the Super Bowl. That would be a great game. But, like I said, it's games like that do make me pause when it comes to C.J.Stroud. I think C.J.Stroud is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I'd have to really go through it though. But I mean, if he's not top 5, he's just outside the top 5. He's a very good quarterback. But it's games like this where you're just like, you want to see more out of him. Like, again, made some good throws. Like I said, the throw to Hutchinson at the end of the game where you thought, like, the Texans are probably going to win. That was impressive. But, I mean, only 86 yards passing? I mean, that's unacceptable. Also, Jair Alexander and Stephon Diggs got into it before the game. No love lost there between those two guys. Obviously, Diggs used to play with the Vikings, so, those two know each other well. Diggs really didn't do anything yesterday. I thought he would have had a big game because of that. The Texans, they do miss Nico Collins. Also, Tank Dell did nothing in the game yesterday either. The Texans do miss Nico Collins. They got to get him back. But, at least you have Joe Mixon who continues to run the football well for this team. He's playing some good football. They leaned upon him yesterday, and he was able to have a good game. But you gotta see more out of your quarterback. And obviously, he's gonna have good games. But, it's also going to have some bad games as well, and that's what happened yesterday. I mean, again, only 86 yards passing? Really? But it happens. It happens. But the Texans are 5-2. They're still a very good team. And, they were missing some guys on defense, like I said. So let's see what happens next week. But, let me know what you guys think, though, about this game. What were your takeaways from it? Let me know. In the comments for the Packers. Another win for them. And let's see what they do next week when they take on the Jaguars. So when we get back from our final break, we're going to talk about the Monday night games. We got 2 of them tonight, of course. The ESPN Plus exclusive, the Chargers and the Cardinals, and then of course you have the Buccaneers and the Ravens. So, 2 games left, and then we are on to Week 8. But I also want to bring up that a little bit shorter of a week for me, so I will be doing shows today tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. No show Friday. I will be flying out to Ohio. I will be at Ohio State, Nebraska on Saturday, and then I will be in Cleveland on Sunday to watch the Browns take on the Ravens, and we'll see who ends up starting at quarterback for them. And then there will be no show. There's going to be no show Monday either. So I'll be back on Tuesday. So yeah, only a little bit shorter of a week this week. Monday through Thursday there'll be shows, and then no show Friday, no show Monday, and then I will be back on Tuesday. So I just wanted to bring that up. So again, hopefully you guys don't miss me too much. Not an extended period of time, just 2 shows, 2 days. I won't be around, but that's all right. That's all right. But I'm gonna make sure that I take some videos. I'll definitely gonna try to take a lot of pictures as well. Looking forward to it. Should be a good time. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different to see, different stadiums. Because I'm just accustomed to seeing, all the stadiums here on the East Coast. Being at a bunch of Yankee games, and Yankees-Dodgers World Series. That starts on Friday, which I cannot believe it. It was a crazy series the Yankees had with the Guardians, but they came out on top, and a lot of people get the World Series that they've been wanting for years, Dodgers-Yankees. So. And then, of course, the NHL is underway. You also have the NBA is going to be starting as well. So, we're going to have that sports equinox. So that's going to be great. Yeah. Sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. So we're going to take our final break of the show now. When we come back, we will talk about both Monday night games tonight. I'll give you my picks, and that is how we will end off the show for today. So for one final time today, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.